Da, 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 da. Okay, we are live. We've just gone live and we're starting to get some folks coming through. Oh, the comments are already lit up. So lovely to see everybody. Hello from Sweden. Hello from Coventry. Hello from the English Lake District. Okay, everybody's just bragging now. They're all in all these lovely, wonderful places. From the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. I am impressed, sir, person, about the Wi-Fi that you've got there in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to Nashville. Howdy there, Nashville. Virginia. Barty, Atlanta, GA photographer. If you need some photography in Atlanta, we've got a photographer in the crew already. And things. Hello from Boston. That's your neck of the woods, isn't it, Dale?
Yes, it is. I'm in Boston right now, under about 2 feet of snow.
Oh gosh! Oh, stay warm. Hi from California. I don't know if they're there. Yes, and buenos dias to someone there from Guatemala. We've got some folks from North Carolina, from Smyrna Beach. Where's Smyrna Beach? And also, yes, bienvenido a Montevideo. So Daniel's there from Montevideo. I'm really stretching the extent of my high school Spanish there, doing my best. Lake Como. Oh, I've been to Lago Maggiore, but not Lake Como. I've heard that Lake Como is beautiful as well. Hello from Mozambique. That's very exciting. We're so international. I love to see it. So thanks to everybody for joining us. And hi to Nicole from Jamaica. I know another Nicole from Jamaica. So hello to everybody. Welcome. We are going to get started in just a minute. You are in for such a treat because I've heard Dale speak on this topic a few times. And it's always so illuminating and always so fascinating and always just a really good time. So when we were thinking about this topic, Dale was the first person that I thought of. Dale is the founder and CEO of Fire and Spark. He spoke at some of the world's biggest marketing conferences. He's a developer. He's a growth marketer. He's a super smart guy, and we're really pleased to have him here. So thank you so much for joining us, Dale, for this webinar on website optimization with AI agents.
Well, Crystal, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you so much. Cool. So these are our speakers. I'm going to do the first part, and Dale's going to do the second part. So we're going to talk about what agents are, how to use them. Dale's got some great tips, some really practical information for you. And then after that, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks and ways that you can do some of those elements on Wix. So I'm just going to remove my screen. And Dale, if you can get your screen up so that we can get ready to share. We'll give some more hellos to some folks from London and from India. And I saw someone from the Philippines and someone from Toronto. And I'm just going to add Dale's section to the screen. There we are. And I am going to jump in the back end. And ask your questions in the chat. I'll be pinging them, and we'll have Q&A at the end. So I'll save your questions for the end, and we'll get to them there. So Dale, I'll leave you with this wonderful crew.
Well, awesome. Thank you. And Crystal, thank you for the introduction. I'm excited today to be talking about AI agents for website optimization. If you have questions, put it in the chat because we will have a Q&A. I want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. This is an advanced topic, but the tools that we have nowadays and tools that are built into Wix make this so much easier. That's why we're talking about it. I'm going to talk about what I've been doing for the last 3 years. We've been experimenting at my agency with AI and moving towards using chatbots like ChatGPT towards AI assistants and then AI agents that run more autonomously. And you're going to see today what I mean by that and what we're doing with it. So hi, my name's Dale Bertrand, and thank you everybody for coming. I see that we have folks from around the world, which is just awesome. I love to see that. So my name is Dale Bertrand. I have a tech background, which means I've worked as a software developer. I studied AI in grad school. I got my name on some AI research papers back in the day. I built a supercomputer for the NSA, which is an agency at the federal government here in the US. And today I run an SEO agency. So we're a marketing agency in Boston. We're 30 people in Boston. We only do SEO strategy and AI consulting. And we have a bunch of clients. Our clients all have logos, but now I'm going to jump into it. So We've all been using chatbots like ChatGPT. And everybody who uses AI for the first time starts by using it basically like a search engine, or using it to answer questions. And that's wonderful. You can also use it to write copy for you, write emails. I use it to rewrite emails for clarity. There's so many things you can do, but that's more of a question response model. Whereas when you're using AI agents, you're giving them more autonomy. So instead of, for example, telling them exactly how to do something, you might tell them that you have a goal, like you have a goal of writing a marketing plan or a go-to-market plan, or writing an article or doing some research. And then the agents will work together, figure out how to do it for you. And that's really what's new for those of you on here who have been playing around with ChatGPT, but haven't really used automated agents. So what is an agent? An agent will automatically, autonomously make decisions, take actions, and it'll even interact with your data, GA4, other systems that you have in order to grab data, maybe from your CRM. And it can execute plans, and it can work with other agents. So the decisions an AI is making, or an AI agent is making, is based on its instructions, how it was trained, basically. And for those of you who have created a custom GPT, you know what we're talking about, because you give it instructions and then it can repeat or just do the same repetitive task over and over again. Agents can also take action. They can use what we call tools. So tools are things like web search or pressing buttons in your browser. So AI agents can do things, and that's why we talk about going from chatbot conversations to agents who take action, who do things for you. And then in terms of interactions, agents can interact with each other. They can interact with humans. We call that human in the loop, because you might have some agents doing some research for you and then come back and say, does this look right? Because next I'm going to work on, let's say, a marketing plan. And you say, yeah, it looks good. Now generate the marketing plan. And then you would look at the marketing plan and you might say, yes, this marketing plan looks good. Now I want you to generate some assets, some visuals, some copy based on the marketing plan. That's human in the loop. But it's also possible for these autonomous agents to work with other agents. And I'm going to show examples of that. So what does this mean for marketing? So for those of us who have a brand, have a website, maybe we sell something online, so we've got an e-com site, it means that we can get our marketing done faster. So because the AI can handle research and data analysis and reporting and performance analysis and copywriting and reporting and all of that good stuff. So that just means we can get that stuff done faster. And then also for the customers that we work with, it can give them better experiences. So maybe it's a chatbot doing customer service, so they have 24/7 customer service, but it can also personalize. Imagine many of us have an email newsletter. Imagine an email newsletter where you got 1,000 people on your email list, but everybody's getting a personalized email. Like, that is awesome. And you can imagine agents researching each individual on your email list and sending them a personalized custom version of your newsletter that's based on whatever they care about, whatever the AI knows that they care about. And then it can lower costs. There are many of us who have built brands, built websites, built businesses, who have hired graphic designers or copywriters or people to build our websites for us. Like, we can do this stuff much cheaper with AI and AI agents. So I'm going to show you some examples of that later too. I also want to mention MCP. MCP is a connector. When you hear MCP, it stands for Model Context Protocol. But what it really is you think of, like, you might have a physical USB device, like the microphone I'm using today, that plugs into the universal USB on my computer. You can think of MCP as the universal connector that allows AI agents to talk to databases and CRM, or maybe the inventory for your e-commerce site, it's really just giving AI the information it needs, the data it needs, the context it needs for the AI agents to do the task that you're asking them to do. And so when you hear MCP, it does sound a little bit technical. It does get a little bit technical, but it's one of those things where if you just hook it up to the system you care about, for example, at my agency, we use Pipedrive as our CRM. So Pipedrive has information about everybody who's ever called us or worked with us or we've reached out to that might want to hire us. We can use an MCP connector that Pipedrive has so that when we're building AI agents or even just chatting in Claude or ChatGPT, the AI has the data that we need in order to do things like write personalized emails to everybody in our CRM. But it's this MCP connector that makes that possible. Now, what you should be thinking when it comes to MCP is what systems, what software do you use, like Wix, that you would love to have access to when you're chatting in AI or using these AI agents. So I'm just going to give some more examples here for MCP. You can connect MCP to your database, your web API, which could be Wix, or GA4, your email, or local files on your computer, or Slack. These are just different ways, different systems and platforms and softwares that you can connect AI to, either when you're chatting or when you're building an AI agent. So what are marketers actually doing with AI agents today? And I know this is true because this is stuff that we're doing at my agency with AI agents. We're optimizing content, everything from prioritizing which pages should be updated, doing the research so that we can refresh pages, and then doing like keyword research, ranking, all of that. And everything you can imagine for content optimization, you can do it with agents or a team of agents that's doing the research and then writing copy and then automatically updating pages on your website. And then market research or marketing research. So agents can help with looking at rankings reports and looking at competitor websites and looking at forums. I love to scrape forums, even Reddit forums, because I love to see what people in my target market are talking about, like what topics should I be addressing or writing about based on what I know my customers care about when I'm monitoring a forum that they hang out in. And then go-to-market planning, that's everything from messaging to setting up your webinars or your content or writing social posts, like all of that. And it's really like project management when you're doing go-to-market planning. So figuring out like what you're going to do for your marketing, when you're going to do it, and what resources you're going to deploy for each step of your go-to-market project. And then social posts, like you can imagine, like what I do is I do research and generate LinkedIn posts, and then I don't just copy and paste them, but the AI will give me a LinkedIn post, and then I'll rewrite it so that it's more personal and sounds like me and all that good stuff. But you could imagine, and I have this running, like agents that are doing some research for social posts, like trying to figure out what people care about, and then also writing posts and building visuals. So there's a lot you could do with these agents. And remember, like you can do this stuff in ChatGPT, you could do it in Claude, you can do it in Gemini, but agents are more autonomous, where instead of telling it how to do something with a prompt, which is what you would do in ChatGPT, with an agent, you can just tell it, I need some social posts, and then it'll run off and do the research and figure out how to generate social posts that your audience actually cares about. Now, when you've got multiple agents working together, you might have a system where you have a supervisor agent, and the supervisor agent would be given the task, like something like write 5 social posts for like LinkedIn or Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. And then it will spin up an agent that's doing research. And then the supervisor agent will spin up another agent that's doing the copywriting. Then it'll spin up a third agent that is doing QA, quality assurance. And I really like this pattern because what's going on here is that when the copywriting agent is writing copy, it's including the research. And then the QA agent will review the copy that the copywriting agent wrote and give it feedback. It'll say, you didn't include this this research, or you didn't include a citation to this fact that you put in here, or something else that's broken about the copy, and then hand that copy with the QA notes back to the copywriting agent, and then the copywriting agent will revise it and send it back to the QA agent. And then when the QA agent finally says, this copy looks great, then the supervisor agent will say, all right, stop. It's time to, we're done. We're done with this copy that we're writing. But you can imagine how these 4 agents are working together to produce something like a social post or an article or copy for your homepage or something like that. So what this means for us as brands, website owners, marketers, is that we're all becoming managers. Like the old way of doing things is like, for me, I know that I could spend maybe 2 to 4 hours a day doing creative strategy work. This is like the work that hurts your brain. We all have this type of work, but what I've noticed is that when I'm doing this hard creative strategy work, it hurts my brain enough that I'm going to eventually switch to tasks that are easier for me to do, like checking my email, or maybe I'll look on social media because I want to waste my time because my brain is hurting. But the shift is that people who are, for example, were writing before will become editors because the AI agents are doing the writing. Or if you were building, maybe you're building websites and you're doing coding in like CSS or JavaScript or HTML or something like that. Now you're a manager who's managing the coding that's being done by the AI agent to build your website. So all of us are becoming managers, and we will be using agents to do work for us. And many of us are already using agents. If you're using you're using your phone or using Siri or Alexa, they're not very, Alexa and Siri aren't very smart, but they are agents. So you can imagine much smarter agents that help you do a lot of different things, and you're spending your time managing agents that are producing like valuable work in your personal life, but then also same thing in your professional life for the work that you do. Now, there are AI agent platforms that I use that are quite technical. The most technical is Replit, the one in the middle here. The one at the, yeah, you can't point. I've got a laser pointer on my clicker here, but that's not going to help me for this presentation. But Replit is really for programmers like me. I can tell it to spin up 3 or 4 agents that maybe they're writing copy like I showed you before. One agent that does the research, one that does the copywriting, and another one that is QAing everything, and then a 4th one that's managing the entire process. And I can ask Replit to build that for me, but that's quite technical. Same thing with Make. If you guys have used Make.com to build automations, you gotta know how to use it. Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, you can build AI agents in there like Gemini Gems or custom GPTs, or Claude has something called projects. And then there's Zapier. Like Zapier works similar to Make.com, where you can build workflows and you can build agents in it. So these are a number of different platforms that I use. The trick here is that agents are going to be built into the software that we already use. So if you're somebody who uses Wix or ActiveCampaign, and there's a million other ones like WordPress or whatever it is that you use, AI agents are going to be built into those platforms. So these AI agent platforms that I use, that I'm showing you, I'm a programmer. So I really like having like control over everything. And I like to be able to write my own code, but you're not going to have to do that. All of the software we use is eventually going to have its own agents built into it. And that's a wonderful thing, because we're all going to have access to the power of AI agents to do the work that we do. And here's an example, which is real-time GA4 reporting. So if you've got a website, you probably have Google Analytics, you're probably using GA4. So many of us use GA4, but we don't actually look at it because it's not clear what the numbers mean sometimes. It's not clear even what to do to fix problems that you might find, like pages that used to get traffic that aren't getting traffic anymore. So you can imagine an AI agent that is connected to your GA4 for your website using an MCP. And maybe it runs every night, or maybe it just runs when you tell it to, and you might just ask it to find problems or find pages that have lost traffic or find opportunities to optimize different pages on your website to get more traffic. What I love about this using AI agents is that it's more proactive. The old way of using GA reporting was to open up GA4, look through it when you have time. You probably never have time. So you're probably not getting much value out of the GA that you set up. But with AI agents, you can ask them to proactively go to your analytics every day and find opportunities for you. And maybe you want them to email you when they find an opportunity. And maybe you want to make sure it's a valuable opportunity. So don't just send me any opportunity, because I got other work to do. I don't want you to bother me. But I do want you, AI agent, to bother me with an opportunity if it's a big opportunity, something that I can take advantage of. And also, I want you to tell me how to do it. Give me step-by-step instructions. So that's a proactive way to use AI agents with your GA4 reporting. Another example for us at my agency is we run dinners like the one pictured here. And we also target health technology companies, but we weren't getting the engagement that we wanted on the social posts that we were posting, like on LinkedIn, for health tech marketers. So what we did is we're monitoring our ICP on LinkedIn. What that means is we found 30 people on LinkedIn that are CMOs at health tech companies, because these are the people that we want to market to. And we built an agent that proactively looks at what they're posting, what they're commenting on, and what they're engaging with in LinkedIn, so that when we write LinkedIn posts for these people, for these marketers at health tech companies, we're writing on topics that we know that they care about, because our agent is proactively monitoring their conversations on LinkedIn. And moving on, and this is the same example. We're just showing, I built this in Replit. And remember, this is technical, but you guys are going to end up using these AI agents in platforms like Wix and other platforms. But when I built this, it was a workflow where it would run once a day, and it would fetch data from LinkedIn. It would analyze the topics that our panel of CMOs and health tech companies were writing about or engaging with, to figure out which of them are marketing topics. And then it'll write some logs, it'll write an email, send me an email, so that I know what topics are trending at the moment. And I built this on my phone, which is really fun, because this platform, Replit, runs on my phone. Another thing that we built is an AI agent to diagnose traffic drops. So the way that it works, and this one's a little different, where, actually this one runs in Julius. If you've ever used Julius.ai, it's AI similar to ChatGPT, but what it's for is large data sets. Like if you have hundreds or thousands of rows in a spreadsheet, then you can use Julius.ai to process it, and it doesn't hallucinate. It gets the data right. It gets the calculations right. That's why we use it. So we were basically using it like when we have a website or a page that is losing traffic, we wanted to figure out, well, what is wrong? Is it an issue in our robots.txt? Is it an SEO issue? Is there something technical broken on the website? And we were able to build an AI agent to diagnose and find them. But there's another way that we did it, which I think is on this slide right here, which is that we wrote a long list, let's say, of 100 different reasons why a page might lose traffic on a website. And one of those reasons would be that the page is no longer published. A second reason might be that the page is no longer indexed in Google. And you can imagine coming up with 100 of those different reasons. What we did was we built one AI agent for each of those reasons. And what that agent does is it just looks at the data to see if that reason is the reason why. And so we can launch 100 of these agents all at once, and each one of them is checking the data to see if the diagnosis that it was given was the real reason why this page lost traffic. So then when we're done, we'll end up getting 97 of these agents that say, nope, my hypothesis is not the reason why this page lost traffic. But then we'll have 3 that come back and say, wait, it might be my hypothesis. So this is one way of using AI agents, like a swarm of AI agents or a team of dozens or 100 AI agents to diagnose a technical issue or diagnose a traffic drop on a website. And then this is another example, which is automated content refreshes. So we have this is more of a workflow where we will prioritize which pages should be refreshed on the website. We always like to focus on pages for refreshes that are already performing well. And then we'll choose the pages that we're going to refresh. We'll do some research using a deep research tool like Google Deep Research. And then we'll write a refresh brief. And then we'll have a human take a look at the refresh brief and approve it. Then we'll have the AI write copy. Then we will have a human review and publish. So it's just one of the workflows that we have that AI agents can help out with. When we implemented this, it took our time from refreshing a page from 2 hours down to 20 minutes, which is a huge, huge time saving. I also wanted to point out, and this is more technical, but you guys are going to see how you can do this stuff easier when Crystal talks about the tools that are built into Wix. But for me as a programmer, like, I'm building a data platform that is grabbing analytics data from Google Analytics, from Search Console, and from some other platforms. And then on top of that, I'm running agents that are doing analysis and using platforms like Replit that I told you before, that is a coding platform for building these agents. And then the insights that are generated based on those analysis, we're using the latest AI models. Like this is Gemini 3, but I think now we're up to Gemini 3.1 Pro or Gemini 3.2 Pro. I don't remember. To generate insights. And these insights that would be generated by the agents will be things like optimizations we should make to the website or technical fixes that need to be made. So this is the way I'm doing it as a programmer when I'm using technical platforms for AI agents. The wonderful thing is, you guys listen, you're not going to have to do this because these agents and these workflows are going to be built into the tools that you are already using. So I just want to emphasize a point here, which is, like, we're all moving from chatbots to agents. And chatbots or ChatGPT, agents are the agents that are built into the tools that we're already using. And I'm sure that everybody here is already crawling when it comes to AI. Like, you're already experimenting with AI chat and using ChatGPT. Some of you might be building AI assistants like a custom GPTs or Gemini Gems or something like that. Eventually you build simple automations, but really where we want you guys to get is that you're redesigning the way that you work with AI and AI agents. And the way that you're going to redesign the way that you work is, you're not going to manually be doing research. You're not going to manually be going into J4 and pulling up performance reports. It's going to be proactively done for you. And you're not going to manually write one word at a time when you're writing copy for your website. You will have agents built into the web platform you're using, or the website builder platform that you're using, that are generating the copy for you and fixing issues for you on your website. So that is really the future. And I love that, like, the platforms I'm using are starting to build these agents into their platforms to make it easy for all of us, so that you don't have to be a programmer like me to build AI, to use AI agents or customize them or build them if that's your thing. One thing that I want to mention is, this is my email address, dale@fireandspark.com. Write down my email, dale@fireandspark.com, because I am more than happy to talk to folks on this call about how you could be using agents for the work that you're doing. At my agency, we do a lot of AI consulting for sales and marketing operations, like building a sales development rep or a business development rep in AI from AI agents, or building all of the AI agents that I just showed you for different marketing tasks. So just reach out to me, because I'll be happy to advise you on how you could do something similar. And then the last thing that I will offer you guys is my recipes. So this PDF that you guys can download, it has recipe cards for individual agents, and you could build custom GPTs or just paste them as prompts into ChatGPT, or use a more sophisticated platform if you're using Zapier or Make or Replit or something to build out these individual agents. And you can team them together so that you have a team of agents that is prioritizing which, for example, might be prioritizing which pages to refresh on your website, and then doing some research, then writing some refresh briefs for you, then writing some copy for you, updated copy for your website. And that's all I have today. So definitely reach out to me, dale@fireandspark.com. Happy to give anybody on this call, 30 minutes to point you in the right direction. And I will hand it back to Crystal. I see we have a ton of questions, which is awesome.
Yes, lots of questions. Dale, if you want to look through the starred questions, you can see some of them there. A big thank you to Dale. Yeah, we had lots of questions. Dale's given us a fantastic overview of agents and how they work. I'm now going to get into some of our information about what we do here on Wix. So if you've been waiting for that, don't worry, here it comes. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to share my screen. Dale, I'm going to let you get a drink of water before we jump into the
Yes.
questions. So we're going to do we're going to go through this. I just want to let you all know that I'm going to be sharing resources. There's some great resources around that we have on different properties. So we have the Wix AI Search Lab, which talks about the whole agentic era and all of that sort of stuff. If you're into that sort of thing, we also have the Wix SEO Hub, which talks about lots of things that you can do on Wix, just generally for your SEO and to grow your SEO. And within that, we have a couple of articles that are particularly focused on this, on using agents. So we have the MCP for marketing, and I'll get into what that does more as well. And we also have specifically how to use the Wix business assistant, which I'll also get into shortly as well. But in both of these articles, we have lots of practical examples for how you can use some of these tools, and I'm going to get into some of those now. Okay, so let's talk about ARIA in Harmony. So, oh gosh, let me see. So, sorry. Okay. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about growing with agents on Wix. So we have 5 different ways that you can grow with agents on Wix. We have ARIA, the business assistant. We have Clio, the marketing assistant. We have Juno, the front desk agent. And we have Omni, the custom agent. And then we have the Wix MCP. You will have seen lots of these different elements around the Wix builder and the back end and in different parts of Wix, and I'll show you, and we'll talk about some of those shortly. So people always ask me in the chat, where is this in my builder? Where is this in the dashboard? In the dashboard, for the last one that I checked, underneath home on the little side panel in the dashboard, it says agents, and it should say new. And next to that, you can see the marketing agent, the front desk agent, the custom agent. If for some reason you can't see that, or you can't find it necessarily, then you can go into the search bar at the very top and you can type in AI agent, and you can see all of them coming down to give you all of that information. So that's how you can find those things. I'll talk about where MCP lives next or later. Okay, so ARIA in Wix Harmony. So I don't know if you've heard, but at the Super Bowl, we rolled out a brand new website builder that is an agentic hybrid builder. So it is essentially, it's a website builder where you can build with an agent. So you would say to it, I like the left image. Can you tweak it to match the style of that one? And you will ask it for a task, and it will carry out the task. So ARIA can do lots of these different things for you. And I've used it, and it's really interesting, and it's got lots of those agentic elements. And you can have full conversations with it, and you can use it to create new content, create new pages, to create a whole new website. And it does lots of different things. So some of the things that it does, you can ask it to generate a page, for instance. So as you set it up, it will start spinning out the page, and it will create the design and all of that sort of stuff. But if you're looking to grow your website with ARIA, for instance, you would say, I want to generate a new type of page. So for instance, it was saying, generate about Crystal, etc. Generate a consulting page, generate an SEO insight. So I literally just said, generate a page for this website, and it recommended web pages that I could use on my website. And then I said, can you add a blog to my website? And it said, yeah, to make this blog, I will need, or to do the changes you're asking for, I will need to add the following. So it will add a Wix app to your website as you're asking it to do that. And then also, one of its real strengths, particularly on the design side, is design. So it can do improving text, and it can also do designing elements. And if you look up Wix Harmony, you can get and see some of those sort of things. Some of the tips that Dale was talking about how to look after agents and how to make sure that they're doing good work for you. When you're working with ARIA in Harmony, one of the things that you can do to get or some of the things you can do to get good responses from it is make sure that you're starting new chats. So in the conversation, you can have a new chat, and it will start a new chat specifically about whatever you're talking about. So if you're talking about your about page, start a new chat. And if you're talking about your product pages, start a new chat. If you're starting about all of those different changes, this has to do with context. For AI tools, if they have to switch from one thing to another, they get a little bit confused and your responses aren't as good. And that's with any AI system. So starting a new chat will give you better responses. Specify the sections that you want to update. So as you go along, you will click on different parts of the page and you'll click maybe the text, or you'll click a picture, and then you can ask it what you want to do. And then also you can give it a role. So this is something that's really useful. So you're a conversion rate optimization specialist. Optimize this section to improve course bookings, for instance. Another one, you're an SEO specialist. Optimize this copy to rank for the keyword antiques in Chicago, for instance. And the other thing that you can do is you can also upload supporting documentation. You can add tone of voice messaging. You can add brand guidelines. You can add customer personas to help it make text that matches with what you need. And that's stuff that you just have about your brand. So you can add that into the actual builder, and it will help it to build better for you. SEO in Wix Harmony is slightly different if you're using that as well. Within SEO, it's an agentic sort of element, so it will add in lots of things. It still has the SEO checklist that you're familiar with, but it's slightly different. So you'll find that on the sidebar of the Harmony builder, but that will help you to grow. And then we have Aria in the dashboard. So in the Wix SEO hub, we have an article that talks about how you can use Aria in your business manager. So in the dashboard for your website, you will see this little thing right here that says AI. Okay, and if you click that, you will be able to see Aria, and you'll be able to have a conversation with Aria. So when you do that, you can ask it lots of different questions. So you can say, generate a report on my highest performing blogs from the last 60 days or last 30 days. So in the same way that Dale was talking about how he asked his agent to look up GA4 elements, your Wix agent is also able to look into your Wix analytics and give you insights, and will analyze reports, will create a custom report for you specifically. Additionally, you can ask it to create and upload events. I do this. I host these webinars every month to everybody who comes every month. It's lovely to see you. And I use these tools to help me upload events. So you can upload the events, and it will upload all of the different elements. So let's say you have your event copy and you wrote your copy all out in one area. You can take the copy and you can put it into your chat with Aria, and it will start making the information for that. And then we have the create structured data markup. And so for instance, if I had a recipe and I wanted to make structured data markup for my recipe blog, then it would make that in there. And also somebody just asked, are these tools ever backwards compatible? Can I just say this Aria, this part of Aria in the dashboard is available for all Wix dashboards. So that's for Harmony, that's for Studio, that's for Wix Classic. So anybody who's using Wix, you should have this little button here, and you should be able to use Aria to do this kinds of stuff in your dashboard. It won't necessarily sit on the builder in the same way, but in the dashboard you can absolutely use this. So let's talk about Clio. So Clio is the AI marketing agent, and Clio can do lots of different things for you. In the same way that Dale was saying, that essentially with an agent, you give it a mission, and then it will go out and will complete the mission using lots of different tools. That's what Clio will do for you. So the Clio marketing agent can conduct keyword research. It has a specific panel for this that will carry that out. It can create a content plan for you. It can optimize site pages. It can draft blog posts for publishing. And it can optimize your blog posts as well. So you can get right into there, and in the Clio Marketing Assistant, our SEO team has worked very closely with the agentic team to make sure that this works really well. So we've got, you can get lots of information. So you can make optimized FAQs for your websites. FAQs, for instance, are really great for generative engine optimization. If you want new blogs, we did research, which we shared on the AI Search Lab, which talked about how blogs are, can be particularly good for being more visible on GEO and obviously on SEO. So that one's useful as well. And this is an example of the keyword research. So within the keyword research, you can see the search volume, the competition level. You can set a main keyword. You can add, you can delete, you can analyze daily, and so it will run these different tools for you using research and connective setups that we have in the back end. For instance, on the blog post, what it will do is it will generate blog posts based on your keywords, based on your criteria. And it will and it has built-in optimization, so it will add in different elements like like it will add in your meta descriptions, it will add in information like that. You can review and publish. So people have talked about the human in the loop. Dale talked about the human in the loop, and you will be that human in the loop. So you can review before you publish, and also it will send you a notification. So it will send you. You can set it up so that it sends you an email to review it, or you can set it up so that it just sends you a notification in your dashboard. So let's talk about Juno. Okay, so Juno is more of a sort of like flywheel sort of element. So Clio is more about getting customers in. Juno is more about customer retention. So it's a front desk agent, and it automatically prioritizes incoming messages and will help you to sort of figure out who's the best person. And so for instance, on this one, it's saying email a 10% coupon to 11 first-time buyers. So that's a nurturing system that you would normally have to set up and create, etc. Whereas this tool will be able to suggest those things and also help you with those. Again, another one, for instance, it will suggest on-brand responses. So if you have like regular customer queries coming in the same way that some of those AI tools will write your email for you in your email, this will help you to write text to reply to users to keep them happier as you're working in those areas. So this one is a tool that's great for customer retention. And again, it will give you highlights and insights. So for instance, we'll say, customers are frequently reaching out about urgent support. Maybe you should enhance your customer support. For instance, there's a high volume of inquiries about subscription. Maybe you should simplify the subscription recommendation. So this tool is something that will help you to manage your customers better and therefore grow your base. And I know from experience from working with brands that if you can keep the customers you've got, it's much easier to grow in the long run. So let's talk about Omni. And Omni is a custom agent. So this one is a multi-agent workflow. So Dale mentioned one that was a sort of like an orchestrator agent, that's sort of like the parent agent, and it has lots of agents that work across it. And this will basically, it can manage multiple workflows. So it can automate routine tasks. You can use a template, or you can create from scratch, and you can test your outputs before you go live. You can also approve sensitive things. So if you don't want it to send out emails before you check them, you can set it up so that the task needs an approval before it goes live. And it can work across lots of different tools like Wix blogs, Wix bookings, etc. So this is an example of one of the templates in detail. So you can set it up so that you schedule when it runs. And in this one, it goes, Omni will identify newly added bookings, gather details. It will write an engaging blog post, encouraging bookings, and publish the post. And then it will send a summary with the link to your email, for instance. So you can get in there and you can sort of customize that. So you can edit the template. So maybe you're like, okay, I want you to send the post into draft and then I'll publish it. Or maybe you're saying, that's fine, just publish it, I don't want to email it, that sort of thing. I would advise that you have a look, but that's something you can do. And so one of the things I'm putting in, again, people always ask me, where is it in the builder? So after you go to the sidebar and you find agents and you click on custom agents, you will get to a page that looks like this. And if you are somebody who gets a little bit of a blank page fever, don't worry. These things don't set off anything crazy. They take you to the templates page, which is what this is. Okay. So these will take you to the templates page, and the template page will take you to, you can see different ones that are configured. So, and you can see how they work. So this one works with Wix apps and Wix stores. This one works with table reservations. This one works with tickets, and you can pick the kinds of tasks that you want or get inspiration based on the kind of thing you want. So if you want customer engagement, you can look at those ones. If you're looking at sales and marketing, you could look at those as well. And that will help you do that sort of thing. So this is an example of one that is a gated one. So this one needs response, and this one needs approval before it does anything. So what it will do is it's running this task. So the task is to monitor, so the task is to respond to negative reviews, for instance. And that's something that's kind of sensitive. Like you do want to respond to them, but you want to be careful with what it says. And so it will carry out the technical part, which is, searching REST documentation. Again, this is the technical element that it does. And then it will go through the documentation, and then it will add a coupon, for instance, and you could approve what it's going to do there. And then let's talk about Wix MCP. So I've gone sort of like super simple and to more complex, and then we'll get to your questions. So Wix rolled out an MCP in the summertime, and if I'm completely honest, cards on the table, it took me a little while to get my head around MCP as a concept. I got Constance Chen wrote an article for us about MCP and about how it basically takes data sources, and then you can see the MCP works to connect things like your Wix website or Figma or etc. Goes through the MCP, and then it can do different stuff. So in Constance's article here, she talks about lots of different things that you can do. So she talks about it can help you do reporting. It can help you do SEO automation. It can help you manage your customer lead management. It can help you with your website content management. It can help you with cross-platform workflows. Lots of different things. And to get started with it, like you kind of need to get to it. So where is it? So there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do a remote setup via Claude or Visual Code Studio. Some people were talking about in the comments, someone was asking, how can you do things that are cost effective? Visual Code Studio is free. That's a free tool that you can use, and they actually have a GitHub tool that will let you try out MCP, and you can chat to it in the side panel, and I'll show you a few screenshots of that. So that's a really good one. And I might share some content about how to do that like step by step. But I essentially, as I said, it took me a minute to get my head around this. I had Gemini coach me through it. And the great thing about if you're using Gemini or ChatGPT is that you can send them screenshots. So if you're saying I'm getting this error message, you can just send them screenshots. So with regards to the MCP, essentially there are within the Wix documentation and the dev tools, you can see tools for supporting remote MCP, also for local MCP, and then we also have the connecting to the Wix site. MCP, which is where you might be using an agent directly, and you can use this tool to sort of help you connect directly. So this is what it looks like in action. So Gemini coached me through this, and essentially the first thing I did was I said, I want to create a new product, this tote bag. And then in the conversation, it said done. It went through all of the technical things, and then it said done. Here's the product, and here's the thing. And then I went on the website, and the product was on the website. I didn't have to go to the Wix website to get the product up. I had the conversation in the back end in Visual Code Studio. I gave them the details. They uploaded all of the elements, and they made it ready for sale. And so while it takes a minute to set up, it can save you an immense amount of time. So it's worth having a look at MCP. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to bring Dale back on the stage. And I hope you've had some water. And we're going to get into some of the questions. Thank you again for all of that. Let me see. I think I'm going to start with this one. Rebecca was very active in the chat. Thank you, Rebecca, for being so active in the chat. She had a lot of questions. One of her questions was, am I correct in thinking the shift here is where the human in the loop enters the equation? Are you able to speak on that a little bit, Dale?
Yeah, so the shift that I was talking about is, for example, from those of us who have websites, writing copy for our websites. So we're going from being a writer to being an editor because the AI is doing a lot of the writing for us. And so then what's really going on with that shift is that we'll be relying more on AI agents. So we're managing agents like the ones that Crystal just demoed. And then also the human in the loop. That's when the agent pauses to ask you to approve something or to ask you a question. And that's really the shift from writing to managing and coordinating these agents that are doing the work for you, and then reviewing and editing their output, since they do hallucinate sometimes.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, are you able to speak on the concept of, because you talked about people talking to chatbots versus people talking to agents. What one term that I think might be new to people is the idea of an SOP for agents. Are you able to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways that I think about it is we'll build an SOP, a standard operating procedure. In our case, it's step-by-step instructions for an agent. And think about this: before we had AI, we had SOPs. They were step-by-step procedures for how to get something done, like how to refresh a page on your website or publish a new article on your website, something like that. Nowadays, we're writing these SOPs for agents, not just for humans. And it's important that we write these SOPs for agents because that's the training for the agents. We might take an SOP that we've written in the past on how to publish an article on the website and rewrite that for agents and then have an agent execute that instead of a human, something like that. But one thing I really want to stress here that we learned, let's call it the hard way, is you want to buy, not build when it comes to AI agents. So what that means is use the AI agents that are built into the software you're already using. I'm a software developer. I love getting my hands dirty with coding, but that takes time, and most people don't know how to code, and you don't need to because you've got it built into the platforms you're already using. So stay on top of what agents are available to you in the software you're already using.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we've built so much of this into it. It also, and it's one of the reasons why, the MCP is really cool, and all of that. So yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And I hope people get into that. Some people were asking, are these available for all Wix platforms? Yeah. So if you're using Wix, then you should be able to see the agents, as I said, in the little AI element in the corner. And if you don't see it there, type in AI agents in your search bar, and you should be able to see that. We had another question that was from Vander. Vander Slice Marketing LLC. Can you connect local LLMs to it, or what? Or would that need to be its own custom app? So I think this was early in the discussions, and so I think they're talking about whether or not you can have local systems for.
Yeah, I'll explain that just very quickly, which is when you're using ChatGPT, you're giving it a prompt, and that prompt is going to the servers that live at OpenAI ChatGPT headquarters, and that's where it's producing a response for you. But sometimes, if you're working in a regulated space like financial or healthcare, you can't send data across the web into the cloud because it's just not secure. So you might want to actually run the AI, run the LLMs on your computer so that you're not sending sensitive data across the web. So that's what we mean when we say run local LLMs. So yes, that's possible. Yes, I've done it. Yes, I have it running on my laptop right now, but that is not recommended. That is so stinking difficult. And you need a very expensive machine in order for it to work as well as ChatGPT works or Claude works. So honestly, I just wouldn't go down that path, even though I have as a hobbyist.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be something that can be tricky. You learn a lot, but yeah, it can be something that.
And it doesn't work. Like, I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that. Like if you're building AI agents, you need LLMs that can do tool calls like web search and pressing buttons in your browser. And only the most advanced LLMs can do that. So the ones you can run on your machine just aren't gonna cut it for not today, maybe a year from now.
Okay. Wonderful. Let me see. So this one, let me see. So are any of these platforms aimed at charities, nonprofit organizations that cannot afford expensive tools? So I just wanted to bring this one up. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned Visual Code Studio. So they have a tool that is that has, I think they have a freemium model. So every month you get a certain amount of prompts that you can use when you set up the MCP, for instance. And then if you're using Wix, again, those agents are built into Wix, so it makes it a lot more economical. How are you able to speak to the ways that you're able to be more efficient in terms of costs when working with agents at all?
Yeah, well, there's so many AI tools, and almost all of them have like a free plan to get started. Of course, you might end up needing more users than you can get with the free plan. But there are some other tools that have nonprofit or education options. We can get it for free or cheaper because you're at a nonprofit. So for those of you, and I know the person who asked this question is probably at a nonprofit, I would Google for what can you use on a free nonprofit license, And for any software that you're using, ask them if they have a nonprofit plan that is not advertised, because a lot of times they do, but they're not going to put it on their website.
Right. That's definitely worse out. And the worst thing they'll do is say no. So so there you go. Always worth asking. So I'm just going to take a Wix question here. Someone's saying, so for an e-commerce store, does that mean you don't need to follow the CSV file format for uploading a product, or will it know the format that Wix requires? So, and Dale, I'm sure you're familiar with this as well. When you have an agent that's configured specifically for a platform system, like it will be configured to fill in all of the fields. So essentially, what will happen is that, and I've tested this on a single product. I've not tested this on uploading 60 products at once, 600 products at once, for instance. But for all of the product information that it asks you, if you're using the MCP to get a product uploaded, it will ask you, like, if you're missing certain details, it will say, do you have this bit of information, do you have that bit of information. But I didn't do a CSV when I uploaded the product. I literally just took some text and I uploaded it. Same thing with when I did the event one, using Aria in the dashboard, the Wix dashboard. I also just I put some text. I literally copied it from the copy that we had for the event, and then I put it into that, and I said, make me an event based on this information, and it added in all of the elements. So it's worth having a go. As I say, there's ways that you can test this for free, so it's worth testing. So yes, I think that testing is really, really valuable. We've only got a few more minutes left. Let me just see if I can pull up any other questions. So we had some people asking about, can it help with newsletters? Can it help with other things? Are there particularly any particular workflows, Dale, that you find that agents are particularly good at, like newsletters or blogs or that sort of thing?
Yeah, particularly good at research of any kind, like researching competitors or researching information on a topic or anything related to marketing research. And then also content generation, you're generating any type of content, social posts, articles, web content, images. That's really where it shines.
Wonderful. And then I will, and yeah, our marketing assistant has that built into it as well. So that's super useful. This one I also want to bring up. It might be, and this says, how resistant are agents to hacking by malicious actors? This is a potentially risky question. How do we know we are really controlling what they are doing? From the Wix side, I would say that we are partners on many of the agentic protocols that make the agentic web much safer. So we have an article all about the different agentic protocols. We are literally the only CMS, the only website builder that is an official signatory for the agentic commerce protocol, for instance. And that makes sure that agentic program that's making sure that agentic payments and agentic purchases on ChatGPT, for instance, are safe. And we also use we're also, in order to do that, we are adherent to the A2A protocol, which is also a protocol that makes sure that agents are working well together and working in a safe way. But obviously security is something that should be considered at all times. At Wix, for all of our Wix owned systems, they go through all of our security checks, and we have enterprise grade security that we work really, really hard on. So from that end, that's what I can say on our side. What sort of guardrails do you put in place, Dale?
So this is why I recommend using the AI and AI agents that are built into the platforms that you're already using, so that you can make it their problem. And the platforms you're using, they'll be worried about security, and they'll hire security experts. When you're building these AI agents on your own, there's just a lot of ways that you can get yourself in trouble. There's just so many things. Like, we had an agent that would take instructions from me via email. But it's possible somebody else could send them an email if I screw that up and tell them to send me all of Dale's passwords or something like that. And so there's just so many ways you could screw it up.
um, and let me see, is there a way to want to, okay, let me just see. And then I had a couple of people who were asking about small business elements, and it's lovely to have so many small business owners here. So someone was saying, can I get support for different things that I should be doing to achieve the objectives that I have? One of the reasons why we have the Omni Agent, for instance, is that it also helps you do that. So if you have a specific thing that you want to do, you can ask the agent at any time of day how to help you with some of those tools, and it will, with some of those objectives. And honestly, please give it a try, because it really has been created specifically to help you with those needs. We also obviously have the webinars that we run every month. We have the Wix marketplace, which is full of agents, or sorry, of agencies, that with humans that you can speak to help you with all of those elements as well. So that's worth thinking about as well. There was a question about whether or not the agents can help you with ADA compliance. And with that should really have a human very much in the loop, because that's regulatory sort of elements. But what I would say is a good port of call is to start with the Wix accessibility wizard, which has been built to be as compliant as possible as we can, within the sort of back end, to help you, to guide you with those elements, as a sort of guide. So it can help you with making sure that things are visible, making sure that things are, they have the right DOM order for screen readers, make sure that you've got alt text, make sure that you've got lots of different elements that can help your website be much more accessible. But with ADA compliance, that's something that comes down fundamentally to the responsibility of the site owner. With that, Dale, thank you so much. I should say again, Dale was very kind to share his email address. So do get in touch with Dale, and get into touch to talk to them about that. Yes, Rebecca, you're very welcome. Thank you for being so active in the chat. And we will be back next month, talking about more nerdy website things. So thank you very much for your time, and good day.